Hello, welcome to Masterpiece. Enjoy the videos. So for those of us who are interested in that as a field, or even having our kids go into that area, I think we have a great panel or guest today that will help us to understand what engineering is all about, what they do, and get us exposed to that area a bit. How did you stumble into this area? Let's start with you, Nee. You want to tell us a bit?
I mean, for me, I think it came down to passion. So, I mean, as a child, what I was interested in was aeroplanes. I have models behind me all over the house. I've had them since I was a child. But I mean, I was always into maybe being an astronaut, being a pilot. I mean,
yeah, I was thinking like that. You could look like a pilot, you know?
Yeah, I was like, I mean, what else could I do? I could do more because I realized, well, I was good at math, physics came sort of naturally to me. The languages, not so much, not the arts. So I was like, okay, if I do focus my energy on these things, what can I get out of it? Then I decided, oh man, let's look at aerospace engineering, see how it goes. But engineering is all about coming to challenges and then overcoming them. So that's the main thing. And that's what's kept me going.
Dr. Okrah, I think you are next and you want to answer the same question. How did you get here?
Actually, I think that maybe as a kid growing up in Ghana in a village, we did all kinds of things that we did by hand. And in fact, I tell people that I have something to prove it. I don't know any of you who play with bamboo and you pack explosive like matches and stuff like that and you blow it up. I have my finger have a permanent mark on my fingerprint that every time I get fingerprint, they always ask me, what is that? Because they think they made a mistake. But anyway, but actually as a student in Ghana, I wasn't heading to engineering. I was in the science, I took math, I did very well. But looking at careers in Ghana, I probably was heading to medicine. And then I came to the United States and I had a brother who actually had gone to college and medical school in the US. He's 15 years older than me. So by the time I got here, he had been out of medical school for 15 years. And I'm looking at him and I decided I did not like his working hours. And so I needed to do something a little different. So I actually, and I was at a liberal arts college at the time, I decided, okay, I'm going to switch to mathematics from chemistry and then do an engineering. At the same time, I had the option. That's why I discovered that I didn't need a degree in the chemistry or biology to go to medical school. I just need to have the right courses. So I was kind of hedging my bet. So I ended up taking a whole bunch of all those courses and all that stuff. And then I got into engineering and I liked, and one of the things that actually helped me is that after my freshman year, I went to work for an engineering company for the summer. And then the next year I went to a different place. I went to different places in different areas of engineering. And I decided I liked it. And so I stayed. And so, and I think that as at that point that I actually became convinced that this is what I wanted to do, that I wanted to be an engineer.
So let's talk about engineers, right? Because it looks like when we say engineers, I don't know, for some people, the light goes on as to innovation in terms of different aspects of things that you can put together and all that. We don't know. I mean, we're just making this up for those who are non-engineers. So help us understand, what does an engineer do, right? And I mean, me, you want to start? Dr. Okrah, you can start with whoever is ready.
I can start. I mean, this is the way I look at engineering. I look at engineering as using mathematics and scientific principles to solve technical problems.
Okay, you have to say it again, because again, you're talking to non-engineers.
Okay, so you take your math, you take math, you take science, so physics, chemistry, just about biology, all those skills.
Biology?
And then you use that to solve problems, technical problems. So,
okay, Dr. Okrah, I think again, I'm going to have to stop you because again, I am a non-engineer.
But maybe he'll jump in and explain better than I can.
No, I think you're doing great. I just need to get a little more clarification here. You said you can use science. So whether it's biology, how could biology work with engineering? I didn't figure that out. So anyway, I'm just thinking from the layperson's perspective, right? So just help us here.
Okay, think about it this way. You think about like some of the research that is going on in say medicine. I mean, we don't think of medicine as engineering, but most of the cutting edge stuff that's going on in medicine is actually engineering. Basically, how do you engineer the molecules that are in
Okay.
medicines, or even stuff that we
Wow.
put into people, cells that are being engineered to do
Really?
certain things. So all those things, like I said, so that's what I mean by you using those principles. You look at a problem that you need to solve, and you say,
I
how do you
see.
solve it? And so, what are all the skills that you can bring to bear?
Right.
All the knowledge you can bring to bear to solve these problems.
I think
So
you
what
can help, you can add some more.
exactly. So it's pretty much the engineering is so broad. We have biological engineers, chemical engineers, mechanical engineers. I mean, they're nuclear scientists. So yes, there are many different fields, and it's so broad. You learn so much. That's the thing.
Wow. I think if I knew all these earlier, I would have gone into engineering. I think it's a really cool thing. It's a cool thing because, I mean, just listening to how you can pull different things to, solve an issue, because I know people who are doing biology or they're doing chemistry and they don't know what they can do with it. And I'm like listening to you and I'm like, okay, so you don't need to waste that, right? We could pull that into other areas and you could do something with it.
The problem.
Yeah.
Right.
I
So
agree.
our sciences and our math will be really important that we have it. So for those of us who are watching, for our kids who are interested, I think that, I mean, then again, computer science is going to help, but we still need to, make sure that our kids are really grounded in their sciences and then their math, right? How easy is it to, you're smiling, so how easy is it, let's say I'm not overly a math person, and truly I'm not, but I really feel like this is cool, like what you're describing. I can figure out how, to communicate with a spacecraft somewhere and all that. What are some of the skills that I need to be working on as I look at this career path, as I look at this area? And what are some of the things that I can clearly say that, this is not my area? Maybe I can channel it somewhere else, because we need to be honest with our kids, with ourselves, and make sure that we set ourselves up to succeed. Yeah. You want to go?
Okay, yeah. So I think with engineering, so I guess what you mean is some of the soft skills. So being a team player, I think that's the number one thing I'll talk about, because nobody knows everything, especially when you look at something like
even the engineers don't know everything.
No. Because if you look at
not even Dr. Okrah, you don't know it all by yourself.
You always work in a team. You cannot sit in your corner and come up with the answers.
No. You see, everybody imagines that we are there working on Nobel theories. Some of us are, not everybody. So the main thing is working in a team. I'm a structural engineer, so I specialize on structure, getting stuff together, connecting your skins to your wings, to the wheels of the aircraft, and then making sure every system, your chairs that are attached properly. So these are all things where teamwork comes into play. You have different specialities coming together and then working as a team. Nobody does it alone.
More. But I want to circle back to something that Nee said, which I think it's really, important to me, and that's grit. I think I learned it just from working in corporate America and just learning it, like as things come and go. I realized that one of the challenges that we have in our community is we give up so easily. We do it one time, it doesn't work. We do it the second time, it doesn't work. And the third time, and we give up. I remember doing my driver's license when I got here in America, and I think I did about 3 times, and at a point I was like done with it. I was like, okay, this thing is taking me too many times to do, because this parallel parking thing wasn't working for me, but I kept going because I really needed that. I really needed that. So I had to keep going and going back until I got it. But I think even for all careers, this ingredient is really important. So how do we, build grit? How do we, incorporate grit into our work ethics, into our kids, into the next generation who are watching you and saying, whoa, Dr. Okrah, you guys are like way, you got it all together. It looks like you didn't have to struggle with anything. You haven't faced any challenges, it looks like. you got it good.
With this social media age nowadays, what you see is people want things now. So you have somebody who's in high school, they see somebody, their age mate 16, 17, they've gone on trips, their dad bought them a new car. So it's like everybody sees that, wow, this kid seems like he's making it in life. But you don't know the story behind it, what their dad is doing, whether it's legal, illegal. There are many things that come into play behind the scenes, and that's something we ignore in our communities, especially with this social media age. Somebody gets a degree and then posts that, oh, I got a degree, it came so easy, but they don't put the parts where, yes, there were sleepless nights, there were times where I was like, am I going to drop out? Do I stay in? I mean, social media is a factor where it makes the generation of today want stuff now, but it doesn't come easy, especially with engineering. It takes years and years of cultivating your skills. That's the important thing that people need to understand.
And this is what I used to tell myself. In fact, when I was in graduate school, but I went to Stanford with a friend of mine. Out of a class of 160 first year, Stanford is a graduate school. Okay, the engineers are graduate school. Out of first year, about 160 first year master students. There were 2 Black people, myself and a friend of mine.
Wow.
So after the masters, he said, I'm out of here. So guess who's left? Just me, right? and so I have to keep telling myself that nobody sent me here. I came here on my own volition, and I'm going to do it. So I have to remind myself why I'm there. And then and so that is very, very key, to focus that why you're there, why you are doing it. Because it's not going to be easy. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that is it. You have to work about it. You got to find some like-minded people who are willing to work with you. You got to spend hours in the lab solving problems, all these things that you would have to do. But at the end of the day, you have to determine, is this what I want to do? Is this a career I want to have? Because it's not, because if you go look at, you can look at any chart about, say, about salary, with people with bachelor's degree, and you see the engineering salary way at the top, and the unemployment so low, and you want to be there. You want that degree, you want that income, but you realize that you have to walk before you can run.
Right.
That work that is required to do, and you have to determine that you're going to do that. And again, if you stick with it, you will get there. The problem is that a lot of time we don't want to stick with it. You go to the first class, and then you get a C in your first class in the first semester, and then you like, okay, I used to be an A student. Then what happened? Well, maybe you need to change maybe how you study, maybe the people that you study with, all those things, the number of hours that you're going to spend working on these problems, all this. So that is something that we need to impart to our kids, that you don't just end up there. You take steps, and some tough steps. I would not be the one sitting here telling you that it was an easy walk.
I don't think so.
Okay, and so, but it was something that I was determined to do. And at some point, actually, here's something that also was a big determining factor for me, is that I felt, particularly at a place like Stanford, I felt that if I didn't do it, the others who follow me may not get the opportunity to do it.
That's not free lunch. Wow. I think that is good and humbling at the same time, because yes, it's exciting to be an engineer. A lot of parents are eager to have our kids to be engineers, or we want to become engineers, but there's a price to pay. Similar to any other career, you have to put in the effort. And we have to start early, is what Dr. Okrah was saying. We have to get our kids on the right path. We can't have them just, doing C's in grade school and just being average and thinking that will get them into the best class, STEM programs. That's not going to work. So I think that is really helpful to know. But I think the other thing that you mentioned, Nia will come back again and talk about that, is you cannot do this alone.
Yeah.
A lot of us in our community, we like solo moves. We like to be the only person who got the name out of the project. And how important is the networking when it comes to being an engineer and, working with people and, collaborating and making sure that we are in this together. We win, we lose, we lose. A lot of us think we win, it's me. If we lose, it's you. So help us, talk about that a bit.
When it comes to aerospace engineering, I don't think there's any project where a single name is on it. There might be a report where you'd have your name signing off, but in terms of if there's any issue on the aircraft, they go through the steps as to who signed off. You might have signed off, but somebody else might have looked into it. And then somebody above them, you have like all these authorized representatives that come from the government that are supposed to check these things. They're hired by the company. So teamwork is important. So you need to be friends with the people you work with, because if they don't like you, they might they might see an error in your work. They'll be like, do I tell him, or do I, just let this go so he gets into trouble? It's very important because, sometimes it's all based on your experience. You might do stuff based on the limited experience you have, but there's always somebody out there who knows more than you. So, and especially I think it's cultural where, we are afraid to talk to people, where it's like, this guy is maybe 20 years older than you. So you're afraid to go and knock on his door and ask him a question. It's sad because there's so much you miss out on when you talk to somebody and these people have a wealth of knowledge. Knowledge is always there. So it's always important in the workplace. Somebody comes to ask you a question. Take a few minutes of your busy schedule. Everybody is busy, of course, but if they come and ask you about, what do you think about, I'm thinking of doing this way. What do you think? Take your hands off your keyboard, take your eyes off your monitor, and then, get that personal relationship where, he knows that, oh, wow, the last time I asked this guy, he looked out for me. So we could move up together. That's what I think.
And it starts even at engineering school. You cannot, you have to work in a team because in fact, there's some classes that is a group project that you're working on. And so you have to learn it from there. And then sometimes the problems are so many questions that you cannot sit there and solve them all by yourself. So you always have to be working in a team, even at the engineering school. And then you go to work, the same thing. There is not maybe a small task that maybe you'll be just, but that small task may be part of a larger task that we're all working together. So there's something they may do by yourself or whatever, particularly in my work area, solve certain problems that maybe just me working, but it's still in a larger project. There's another part you shouldn't also forget is that where your next job is coming from, even within the same company. Because I'm sitting over there, I'm about to finish this project. I'm trying to, what will be my next assignment is going to be. It's not necessarily your manager is going to be assigning you work. It's like somebody else who knows you that, hey, we need somebody to help us solve this problem. And I know this guy over here who helped us on this. So they go, let me call him to see if he's available. And so all that, so even within the same company. So a lot of time it is very, very important that you do that. And so you cannot sit in your own little corner. You're going to start growing mold if you sit in your own corner.
So it's really important for us as we keep working on our careers, whether we're in engineering or any other career, we cannot do it alone. No. I don't know which careers you can do it single, but rarely. I think it's it's an important thing. And I've worked with an engineering company and I've seen them go for national assignments and projects, and they've never come back. Everybody seems to be a winner. Everybody is a winner. The team won, everybody celebrated. And it was such a different way to see how they collaborated and how they worked together in teams. And that is really, I mean, amazing.
Because if you cannot work in a team, you're not useful to the organization.
No, definitely.
I mean, that's a very, very critical aspect of it.
Hello, thanks for watching. I hope you are transformed, inspired, and you discovered something that you can use on your life journey. Make sure to check out our other videos for more life-changing, transforming episodes and conversations.